Okay, Chairman Kane and members of the committee, my name is Fatima Menendez and I am a legislative attorney with MALDEF. MALDEF opposes HB 4498. I will focus on specific provisions, but we oppose the entire bill. Section 1 of the bill adds a requirement that a voter registration applicant attest to the truth of the information provided on the application by affirmatively accepting the information as true. This provision is either redundant of state law or in conflict with federal law, depending on the meaning of the term affirmatively accept. A Texas voter registration applicant already attests to the truth of the information provided on the application. If Section 1 requires more than what is currently in place, it is vague and incapable of interpretation. Section 1 requires at the time of voter registration and as a condition of approving the registration application, the comparison of the applicant's information against DPS records, including those on citizenship. A DPS record showing the applicant is not a U.S. citizen will trigger the program to notify the applicant that the application is incomplete when the application is actually complete. A voter registration applicant's current sworn statement on her registration application that she is a U.S. citizen will be overridden by an outdated record at DPS showing that this individual provided a permanent resident immigrant card on her last visit. HB 4498 will trigger rejection of voter registration applications for almost all newly naturalized U.S. citizens who already have Texas driver's licenses. Section 1 violates the NVRA as well as the legally binding settlement agreement signed by Texas in 2019. Section 2 requires the registrar to send each submitted voter registration application determined eligible to the Secretary of State for verification. To the extent that Section 2 authorizes the Secretary of State to require an applicant to submit documentary proof of U.S. citizenship, this would open the door to another illegal voter purge like the one in 2019. This requirement may also delay the voter registration process. I know I'm out of time. I have written testimony where I can expand, where I do expand.
Yeah, you're also going to get questions, so
okay.
It'll be all right.
Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. Does anybody on the panel have a question? The chair recognizes Representative Kane.
Yes, ma'am. Could you keep explaining to me your concerns?
Sure. Okay, I will go ahead and start with Section 3. Section 3 also violates the NVRA, which requires 4 federal elections. I believe this was Representative Busey's questions. The NVRA requires 4 federal elections, states to add voters to the rolls who submit their valid registration applications within 30 days of the election. Section 4 would also delay the voter registration process, and it is possible that the identity verification could violate the NVRA if it requires an applicant to provide additional proof of eligibility to register to vote. MALDEF urges the committee to reject the bill. Most of our concerns are related to vague language within the bill. So there is this implementation of a program with DPS and the Secretary of State. There is language in there that the program would notify an applicant that their application is incomplete, that the program would tell or advise the applicant that the applicant needs to correct their application and resubmit the application. There's no information as to the timeline of a notification, how soon an applicant would be notified of that, how the correction process would take place, who would provide the notice, whether it would be the Secretary of State or the Department of Public Safety. There's also no language in the bill that would ensure that the verification of identity with DPS records would not violate the settlement agreement. The settlement agreement, I know that Representative Busey asked a question about this last time, but in the settlement, Texas agreed to flag only currently registered voters who registered to vote before they presented documents to a DPS office indicating non-U.S. citizenship. And so if that language is not included in the bill, then it's very possible that a person who showed a green card, got their driver's license, then naturalized, and then registered to vote would be flagged by the system. So that's where a lot of our concerns lie, is just with vagueness within the bill. And then I can also provide my written testimony.
Very good. Does anybody else on the panel have any questions for the witness?
I know that there's a lot that maybe you may still have questions about, and if there's anything that we don't address within our written testimony, we would be happy to have a conversation with you about it.
Yeah,
very good.
Thank you. Okay. I can tell you I certainly don't want to see somebody that is currently eligible to be rejected. And for the members in the audience, we had reason this isn't even a ledge council draft is at some point late in the process, we realized no one in the House had filed a bill to try and resolve this issue. And so we kind of literally like looked up and found other bills that had did it and threw this thing together to make sure that before the bill filing deadline, we had something that was going to try and get us into motor voter. And so that was the idea.
Thank you very much for your testimony.
Thank you very much.